Views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Well, greetings and welcome to this week's edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast. I'm John Engelman. Thank you for being here. This week we are in Bentonville with Luke Wetzel and Mollie Mullis talking Townie Burgers, Oven and Tap, and Superfine Sweets. But before we do... Good news. Man, this one's been a long time coming for Darwin Beyer as he announced Monday that they'll be opening Chuo Izakaya in Pinnacle Heights this Friday. Chuo Izakaya means Center Tavern and is built around connection. Think Japanese small bites made for sharing and crafted with seasonal ingredients with a strong bar program. There have been delays along the way, but that was out of owner and executive chef Darwin Beyer's hands. Those days are over.
It's been a learning curve for sure. It's having to deal with a realm that's not necessarily mine. That I've never done a restaurant from scratch. From just a shell. I've usually had a kitchen already there, and I kind of got a chance to work with it. So that was my expertise, and so getting to that point finally, I know what I'm doing finally, and I'm not leaving it into other people's hands. So it's finally back in my hands, and I'm happy. I'm happy to run with it.
The Hub Bike Lounge is growing. They've been closed for a few weeks to finish their expansion and have doubled their indoor seating and added on an indoor stage. They've also expanded their kitchen and are adding menu items like burgers, wings, and fries. They'll also have a coffee and a bakery program that'll start March 31st, and that's when they'll start opening at 7 a.m. General Manager Shawn Curtis gave us the schedule for the rest of the week, which starts tonight.
We're opening back up full steam on the 27th. We're going to open up on Wednesday and Thursday to try to, work out some final kinks before the 27th. So anybody's welcome to pop in on those days. And then on the 27th, we'll be full steam with our coffee menu joining us on the 31st. And then later on in April on the 18th, we'll have a full grand opening party. That'll go from the morning till we kick them out at the end.
Man, if you all saw my post from last week, you saw that I stumbled onto Taqueria El Cuervo in Springdale. I'll just say this about the place. There is a reason they have a 4.8 rating on Google with over 60 reviews. Anywho, they're moving, but just a mile west down Huntsville across from the Dollar General. The new address is 2019 West Huntsville Road, and they opened there Friday. Last Friday morning, Jaclyn's Kitchen at Prairie Creek Marina opened their doors. It was a bit of a symbolic day, as 6 years ago on that day, they launched their original location. Right now, they are serving breakfast and lunch at the marina and are open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 to 4 and Sunday from 8 to 1. If you're there later in the day and are feeling like an adult drinky poo, it is BYOB for now. Down the Bayou is bringing South Louisiana food and culture to Springdale. They've been building out their spot at 5320 West Sunset for a while now, and they've announced when they'll be opening. They will have their soft opening on April the 16th, with the grand opening happening on Saturday, April 18th. Moffs Pizza will be giving away free pizza. They will be accepting donations in exchange for slices at a pop-up at Crisis Brewing Company coming up this Sunday. All donations and a large portion of beer sales will go towards Moffs getting into a new brick-and-mortar off of Church and Dixon, right across the street from where their food truck is normally set up at Puritan. If you're unable to make it but still want to donate, they have a GoFundMe link at their Instagram bio. Some sad news to report. Angelino's Italian restaurant in Siloam announced last Thursday that they will be closing their doors for good after Easter Sunday. They thanked their customers for their support, but said that there were multiple determining factors making it impossible for them to keep the business going. All right, anniversary time. Let's start with our sponsor. Guess Who is 12. They've been on Rainbow Curve in Bentonville now for a dozen years. They celebrated this past weekend with raffle drawings, free merch, all-day samples, birthday cake, and Chef Aaron from Musole was there making smash burgers. Happy 6th birthday to Feed and Folly. They opened one day before the COVID shutdown. You can hear that story from co-owner Lewis Chase as we met with him and sat down and interviewed him May the 7th of last year for a podcast. He had some great stories. By the way, it's about time to hit that rooftop bar. And a happy 2nd birthday to Handel's Ice Cream in Rogers. They celebrated over the weekend with free sprinkles, a $100 giveaway, and raffles for Handel swag. They should be opening in Fayetteville on College very soon. Okay, this is not Northwest Arkansas, but she's sure been a fun follow on TikTok. Congrats to Kelly Marks. She is a certified executive pastry chef that teaches at UA Pulaski Tech in North Little Rock. She competed and finished second place in the regional qualifier in Michigan for the American Culinary Federation Pastry Chef of the Year Award. I had been following her on TikTok for months as she was perfecting her dessert entry over time. Her entry was called Turtle in a Cherry Tree. Listen to this. It's chocolate mousse, cookie crumble, caramel, and pecans wrapped in a pecan zocon cake, topped with a handmade decor of a dipped cherry ganache finished with matcha twill. Whew. Congrats to Kelly Marks. A super fun follow. Hey, don't forget this Saturday from noon to 3 is the Beer Chili Cook-Off at Black Howler Beer Company in Highville. Look, I've been covering these for a while. You guys know this. Here's my advice. These things are super popular. Get there early. The chili goes quicker than you might think, and the earlier you're there, the better. We'll see you there. Luke Wetzel and Mollie Mullis have been business partners for about a decade now, and the story of how they met is pretty hilarious. It started with a job interview and a phone call, and persistence, and that paid off. When Luke decided he wanted to open Oven and Tap, there was never a question about who would be a part of it with him. By the way, they both talk about the lessons learned when opening their first place. Like in anything, they didn't know what they didn't know. Also, how do they pick out their ice cream flavors for Superfine Sweets Shoppe? Finally, what led to Townie Burgers? And what's next? We'll hear from Luke and Mollie. That's next, right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas. Looking for a liquor store that actually takes care of you? Check out Macadoodles in Pineville and Guess Who in Bentonville, where customers always come first. From open to close, enjoy complimentary white and red wine samples at both locations. Curious about spirits? Well, they've got spirit tastings too. And when a new barrel buy comes in, there will be an open bottle so you can try it. And if not, just ask. Within reason, they will be happy to pop one open. At Macadoodles in Pineville, check out their exclusive private label wines and spirits. The price is good, and the quality is better. Buying a 12-pack of beer? Well, you'll get a free 3-ounce bag of ice because details matter. They'll also help with the big carry-out orders. And if it's raining, not to worry. Umbrellas are waiting for you up front. And if you want to save money, join the loyalty program at both places. Macadoodles in Pineville and Guess Who in Bentonville. Taste before you buy and feel taken care of every time.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. We are at Townie Burgers and Bevies here in downtown Bentonville, and we're with Luke Wetzel, Mollie Mullis, co-owners. Guys, how are you?
Good.
We're doing great.
Thanks for your time. Yeah, I've been looking forward to doing this for a while, and I'm glad we connected over at the dinner at the Hive.
It's always great to see you.
Thank you, man.
And it's great to see you at the No Kid Hungry dinner. It's a special dinner. And
no question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's get into it. I kind of want to know how you guys, because sometimes I go way back when talking to people about how they got their start. What got you guys into food?
You want this one, or you want me to take it?
Why don't you start with your story?
Yeah,
and then
you
I
both
can
have to do it, by the way.
I can start with my story.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
They do cross paths.
They do, absolutely.
Sure they do.
Well, I'll just jump into where my professional cooking experience began, and that was at Boulevard Bread in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
And it was owned by Scott McGee, who later on went to open restaurants under the guise of Yellow Rocket. So they had a great restaurant group after that, but I worked with him back in the day, and I had cooked through high school and college in smaller restaurants just for a little cash in my pocket.
Yeah, man.
But I feel like if I'm going to create a couple of buckets, that was cooking. We're taking cooking for granted, taking food for granted.
Sure.
And once I landed at Boulevard Bread, that's where I really started to understand the connection of where the food came from, technique, how to season beautiful heirloom tomato gazpacho and roasted chicken. And just all these fun techniques and different avenues with food. And Scott previously worked out in California at a restaurant named Chez Panisse, owned by Alice Waters. And the stories he told really began to intrigue me. And I think that's eventually what convinced me to move to California and pursue a job at Chez Panisse, which I was able to land. Not because of my excellent knife skills or whatever, but I ended up I received an internship there that went on for 3 months, and stuck it out day in day out. Just wouldn't leave. And as my internship expired, I sat down with the chefs and I just said I wasn't going to leave.
I'm pretty sure the way you told me is that you stood at the back door until they gave you the job.
Nice. The rain starting and a little lightning and thunder.
It's like, I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
You will employ me.
Yeah.
I was in love with that restaurant and working there and learning as much as they could stand to teach me. And
you were a gym rat there, basically, is what it was.
Yes,
John, are
absolutely.
you familiar with it?
I've read about it. Yes. Yes.
It was a magical place, and they caved. I got
thankfully.
Yeah, so I got a job, and I worked specifically at Chez Panisse for a number of years, and then also had some experience with alumni from Chez Panisse that opened restaurants in the Bay Area.
Gotcha.
And I want to note that Chez Panisse was where I was introduced to the wood-fired oven.
Okay.
And I, again, just fell in love with that style of cooking. I'd never cooked on anything like it before. And we would do pizzas. We would, experiment with different appetizers and different plates. Whole wood-fired squid and pastas and pizza. And I think that's what stuck with me. And we'll get to this later, but that was the real genesis of Oven and Tap.
Okay.
And so really, I think that food became something that I loved, and I also began to see a path to a career and a career with it at Boulevard Bread, and after that it was off to the races.
Off you go. Molly, I need you to top that.
Oh, I don't think I can. I mean, my story is vastly different than Luke's.
Okay.
Mine kind of starts in college. Well, actually, it should say it started in high school. My mom was an avid cooker, and so I would come home after school. We would watch Ina Garten and Food Network, and we would make whatever she was making, generally like pesto and pasta or something. Mm-hmm. So I kind of started to fall in love with food at that point. Went off to college in Colorado, became kind of the house mom there, cooked for everyone, loved it, really enjoyed it. Came back to Arkansas with the hopes of pursuing another career, and didn't really love that.
Dare I ask?
Sure. I was hoping to be a lawyer.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Worked for a judge. She was wonderful.
Okay.
But
Everything else
was not my plan.
Right.
And so I was like, I've always really liked to cook.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a food truck. So
I've heard that before.
I should say I've never worked in a restaurant at this point in my life, ever. Not as a server, not as a cook, nothing.
It's the most natural transition from
a courtroom?
Yeah.
Right.
Food truck.
Right. So I wrote a business plan. I got a bank on board. I got my parents, for the most part, on board until I got to my mom, and she was like, no, I'm not going to lend you any money until you have a job in this arena. You're crazy.
It's pretty fair.
Right. So there was a couple ads on Craigslist. This is dating me, but and I am at the pool and get a response for an interview. And so I'm home from school, just graduated college, enjoying life.
Where was home at this point?
Home is in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Yep. I get a response for an interview, so I just throw on a swimsuit cover and drive up to Bentonville, which hadn't been to since I had played them in high school.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Okay.
It was a sleepy town when I grew up.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
There was really no reason if you lived in Fayetteville to go to Bentonville.
It was the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And anyway, I find myself at the Hive, 21C, which is this beautiful, stunning building.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm in a swimsuit and a swimsuit cover-up. and
flip-flops.
And flip-flops, yes, thank you. And anyway, they make me wait in the lobby for like 30 minutes. It was.
Sorry about that.
No. I'm sure you were busy.
Oh, we're starting to see the lineage here.
So Luke comes out and interviews me, and he's like, "What kind of experience do you have? Like, why do you want to work here?" And I'm like, "Zero experience." Here he is, having worked in professional kitchens.
So it was for the kitchen. That was the job. Okay.
Yes, I wanted to work in the kitchen.
Okay.
Because my mom's like, if you're gonna own a food truck,
right.
you should know how to cook. I mean, I know you know how to
That's a fair piece of advice.
make a sandwich, but
right.
and
You
cut
can
it.
melt a grilled cheese. We'll give you that.
Right, and scramble some eggs, but like
Now you're
beyond
talking.
that,
Yeah.
like some technique. Anyway, so Luke kind of finds out pretty quickly. He's like, I'm looking at your resume, and I see no actual cooking experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I going to ask her now?
Yeah.
And so he said, what's the best thing you've had to eat in the last year? I'm going to tell about this pizza that I had in Boulder, Colorado, where I went to college.
Okay.
It's at a pizzeria called Pizzeria Locale. And it has corn and ham and cream and chives, and it's excellent.
Yeah.
And Luke's like, I know the pizza. And I think I got hired because of the pizza.
Only because the pizza.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Kidding.
Well, and my winning personality.
Oh, that's it.
But, so I got a call back. I got hired, and they're like, you need your own knives.
Before that. So, the Hive is a large restaurant.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And so, as I'm walking out to meet Mollie for the interview, she was all the way across the restaurant, and I was
You're
looking.
back in the banquet storage. And
Yeah, and I was like looking around, and I was like, all I see is the swimsuit cover up and flip flops, but let's do it. And I think by the time we had a great conversation, we talked about pizza for a long time, and I think we left it as like, hey, let's connect again. But I think by the time I walked back to the office, and I sat down in my chair, and I was going over with the executive chef Matt McClure at the time, with just notes on the interview. My phone rang, and Mollie was already on the end of the line, asking me. You asked me what kind of knives to go buy.
Yeah, I did. I called them. I was like, I was convinced I had the job.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm going to buy knives.
Yeah.
Like, that's happening right now. So
Wow.
I basically forced it. Very similar origin
So
story
you were standing
here.
outside the door,
Yeah, I was
you weren't
standing
leaving?
outside Shoppe saying,
Right.
hey, you're not getting rid of me.
Right.
They hired me as a prep cook. And I remember my first day, I think I peeled garlic for most of the day.
Yeah.
And it was the most exciting day I think I've had. I can still remember it because it was like, have you ever worked in a kitchen?
Oh, well, 2 different days, and it was all for it, but no.
Okay, it
was fill-in.
It was buzzing.
Yeah.
People were excited. It just that moment.
It's infectious.
I was like, "This is what I'm supposed to do:
Nice.
peel garlic forever." Anyway, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Luke really took me under his wing there, and I learned a tremendous amount about
Yeah.
food and how to take care of food and the importance of food, and fell in love with food and the philosophy that, he had learned at Chez Panisse that had trickled down through the Hive and through, the rest of our concepts, but
Sure.
just to really care about things with
Yeah.
integrity.
Absolutely.
And I loved it. And I loved line cooking. I mean, I loved the whole thing. There
Yeah.
wasn't anything about it that I didn't love.
Yeah.
Luke and I and his wife became good friends, and Luke kind of started talking about opening a restaurant. And again, I was like, oh, well, you're not doing that without me.
She's standing outside the door again,
No,
dang it.
truly. I was like, sorry. There are probably at this
She's
point.
in a swimsuit again. She means business.
When we opened Oven and Tap, which I forced my way into, I had been in the food service industry for less than a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Yes.
So, you all had worked at, but now what year was that? 2014 that you started working there, I guess.
Yes. Right?
It would have been 13 because we
Started
planning Oven and Tap at the end of 14.
Okay.
Opened in May of 2015.
Right. So it was naturally going to be pizza because the way you guys connected was over pizza, right?
Yeah.
That was the idea behind it?
Well, that and the only absolute I had was the wood-fired oven. So it's the first thing that went inside the space that we leased and gutted and dropped this big old wood-fired oven right in the middle of it that we shipped in from California.
Woof. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's very similar to what you had cooked on previously.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Same builder. So
Yeah.
it's a great company in Northern California. They import Italian clay bricks and they manufacture the ovens in Watsonville.
Yeah. It's like I'm really embarrassed that I'm going to admit this, but I still have a smoker that I learned on from my dad. The same kind, not the same smoker. And the company's been out of business since 2015, and it is a $20 piece of crap. But I know how to use it.
Right.
I know how to do
That's
what I'm
what
going to do
matters.
on it. Yes. And the parts are getting expensive now, so I'm going to have to grow up and put on my big boy pants and get a real smoker at some point. That's coming. However, to your point, having the same oven that you learned on and that makes all the difference.
It really did, and it was comforting. It was exciting.
Yeah.
And it was such a moment of pride.
Oh,
you know.
yeah. I
The
remember.
first fire we lit. We tried to dig up the shirts we wore in our first picture there.
Because we were
for
going to
our
recreate
10-year
the photo.
Our 10-year anniversary.
Yes. Did you?
I think
couldn't-
neither of us had it.
Well, as it happens every year, so we just celebrated 10 years. No,
Yeah.
10 years.
Last year, this
11's
coming May
coming
will
up.
be 11.
Yeah. Okay.
And as for every anniversary, it's in May, which is a massive season in the Northwest Arkansas area.
Sure.
And we glaze right over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves every year we're going to celebrate this. We're going to, shut it down and throw a party or throw a parade.
Yeah.
And then, it's October.
It's graduation. It's Mother's Day.
We just move right through it. So I don't think we've ever successfully celebrated our restaurant birthday.
No.
Somebody's going to have to do it for you, and you guys are going to have to step in for like 8 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
right.
basically what it's going to
Yeah.
be.
The interesting thing about the wood oven and pizza
Yeah.
is that in the beginning, there were only 4 pizzas on the menu.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It was a vastly different menu.
Interesting.
Back then.
It was, yeah.
So, what was that first big? We talked about this beforehand. What was the first big lesson or first series of big lessons you had as food, restaurant entrepreneurs?
Man, that is a list. But
What's the most memorable that comes with an outstanding story?
Oh, gosh. Where do we start?
well, I do think Molly and I are committed to always evolving the restaurant and evolving how we approach food and approach hospitality.
Super important.
And in the beginning, since we had worked together in kitchens, that was just what we were going to do.
Yeah.
We were going to run the kitchen together. We were going to run the entire restaurant from the back of the house.
Yeah.
Which we
And
did do
We did.
for some time.
We did, but I think one, there was a light bulb moment where we felt like a little weighted in the back of house.
Yeah.
The food was great and it was coming along, but we kind of felt like there's we weren't quite there yet with the full-on hospitality, the service and the presentation of the restaurant in front of house. And so we just sat down and discussed how to problem solve that. And Molly, is really just an outstanding hospitality person.
Look at
very
you.
kind.
How about that?
And can cook with the best of them as well. But we decided at that moment that she was going to step up and take on that challenge to move kind of to more of a general manager position and help us even out the restaurant.
Sure.
And I think in year one, and maybe that bled into year two, and maybe a little something like that, we were totally blind to that.
Yeah.
And that was a big lesson. And I think once we made that decision, we could both look at each other and say, that was the move, let's go.
Yeah. Someone told me once, and I forget who, I've done a few of these, but they said, even pilots have windows. You got to be able to see everything.
Yeah, and it's hard to see that
Yeah.
when you're entrenched in one department.
Right,
Truly.
right.
Luke always did a really good job of this, and that's kind of the benefit of his experience versus my experience, and like the reason why our partnership works well is that Luke has a tremendous amount of experience and world-renowned experience in this arena, and I've kind of got fresh eyes. So I think the partnership of those two things work well together. But one of the other things that I remember learning really early on that was really hard for me was that the guests kind of dictate the menu.
Sure.
And you have to be open to that evolution.
You bet.
And that's hard because you fall in love with like a beautiful beet dish.
Right.
And nobody likes it.
Well, and the
you and I liked it.
And the other side, you better not take something off that menu that's a favorite.
Oh, right. Which we experience all the time now. We have a Brussels sprout Caesar that is a seasonal option.
Oh, ouch.
Well, if we think about it, Brussels sprouts are grown in the fall and the winter. That's really when they are at their prime.
Nobody wants to hear that.
I know. I get it. And we have.
But to your point, yes, absolutely, 100%.
But the guests can really dictate the menu,
Absolutely.
and that is in both sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit difficult to let go of, but it is important for the evolution of a restaurant, and it's a super important lesson to learn.
Yeah.
You can love something and be so passionate about it, and the guests may not, but that's okay.
When there's a real vulnerability to putting your menu out there, and showcasing it to people, and sometimes the feedback is tough, but we take it very seriously and put our feelings aside and try to, we stick to our principles. Cooking seasonally, sourcing locally, simple but technical and delicious preparations.
Yeah.
And we've learned day in, day out how to maintain those principles and work with the community or the guest on what works best inside these walls.
I think when you get tough feedback, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I think that's part of it, and I think everybody gets that for doing that. I think that's part of it. Anyway.
Can we also talk about mistakes in year one?
I'm sorry, we're out of time. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Printing our own menus
week in,
by the week. We changed them by the week.
Oh.
So
we should have just handwritten them, honestly.
Here's the chalkboard right there. Order from there.
It was such a nightmare. We bought a $100 printer that never had enough ink.
LIVIN.
Yes. It
turns out
was, I don't know and we did it for a long time.
And it would always fail, like
Valentine's
Day
at
4 p.m.
Oh, no.
Easter brunch. I mean, it would just be terrible.
But
such great lessons.
Shoppe East and other restaurants I work for in California, we would, rewrite the menu every single day. Yeah. So every single morning at 8 a.m. you hit menu meeting, and you had a fresh list of your station set.
Yeah.
And I love that. It was very challenging to execute every day.
You might get shot here trying that.
And So we learned very quickly that, hey, let's stabilize the menu. Let's run it, according to the season. So now we print menus across all our restaurants in accordance with the 4 seasons.
Okay.
And that works out. That works out for us, for our staff, and for the community.
And we let someone else print them.
Yeah. That's pretty wise, right?
Yeah.
Take that off the list, right?
We pay someone to do that.
Yeah, that's it. Have them delivered too. So when you start getting the itch that let's add to our portfolio of retail foods, as it were. Is that right, retail? Maybe not. But
it works.
Let's grow. When are you thinking that, and are you thinking sweet?
Was it always sweet? I think that the idea of growth was a part of the business from
part of the start.
Day one.
Yeah.
At least for Luke.
Yeah.
That was his vision.
Yeah.
And again, I was just like, you're not leaving me behind, so.
Yeah, and we're we're daydreamers, or we're dreamers, right?
Sure.
So we talk about all these experiences that we've had, on traveling or even right here at home, and it's just it's food really inspires us, and so I think the most natural path is to grow and expand and challenge ourselves, and I think that's what really drives it. Mollie has a much more romantic story of our ice cream venture.
Well, we set ourselves up. We kind of rewarded ourselves for 5 years of business.
Okay.
And like learning how to step out of the business a little bit. Also, another really important lesson to learn as a business owner is at some point you can't be there every single day.
Yeah.
It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for them.
Right.
So we went to Italy as a like a little test point.
Okay.
For a month. And while we were there, it was myself, Luke, and Luke's wife, Catherine. We ate gelato like 3 times a day, if not more. I mean, it was like, where are we getting gelato? What are we doing next? Should we get gelato?
Yep.
And so we came back, and this idea of expansion had always been on our mind, and the space in front of Oven and Tap was available.
Sure.
And so we were kind of thinking like, it's too small to be like a full service restaurant. What's a great complimentary service? Ice cream. Yeah. Right? Who doesn't love it?
Right.
And then this is my romantic story of it, but when thinking about the design of the space, tomatoes, you often plant marigolds, which is a flower, with your tomatoes and your peppers, and they're a companion plant.
Sure.
And they go well together, and they bring the good pollinators and the good people. And so when we were designing the space, we leaned into this yellow marigold color.
Okay.
Because it's a complimentary service.
Indeed.
But that's kind of how Superfine came about, a trip to Italy and a love for ice cream.
And eating gelato nonstop.
Right, and we don't
which is what everyone
serve
does over there.
Gelato, but
we do a different style of ice cream,
Right.
but we loved the since
the feeling.
We love the feeling, and we also loved the secondary experience. So in Italy, we would go have this great meal, and then we'd get to walk a few blocks and find a gelato shop, and that to us was like a very unique and fun experience to have a secondary place to go. And we thought, well, what's better than having pizza and beer, or a burger and fry, and then walking down the block a little bit, popping in Superfine and grabbing your ice cream.
Now, for those that don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, ice cream, cookies, cakes, cupcakes.
That is correct. We primarily focus on ice cream and cookies and like sweet treats to go along that accompany.
Gotcha.
We are also a wholesale business, so we sell our ice cream wholesale, and then we also do all the business all the sweets for the other restaurants.
Okay. Well, perfect.
So we have anywhere from 12 to 15 flavors at a time, and again, those rotate seasonally. There are a few that we started with that I think have to be there.
Okay.
Or there would be, riots in the streets.
I know we're going to talk about this in the next segment. We can talk about it now since we're already into it for the ice cream. But how do you select the flavors?
That is just.
It's just a mean question.
Well, it's mean, but I think we, with Superfine and our ice cream, we just sit down and like have fun.
Yeah.
And we think that our ice cream. The space is certainly fun. It's yellow and pink, and there's banana wallpaper, and so it's a very fun spot. And I think we just sit down and have fun with it. And obviously we look to some of our peers in the industry, across the nation, and get inspiration. But I think we really just have fun with it, and all these things fall into place.
Yeah.
I know we'll get to this. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That's all right.
We offer a super premium ice cream. So that's a classification of ice cream. And it has a higher butterfat content, and we whip less air into it. So it's a denser ice cream. So think like creamy and dense. People probably recognize
It's my
Jenny's.
old band name, by the way, Creamy and Dense. Didn't work out so well.
But Jenny's is a national brand that also
Okay.
offers super premium ice cream.
Gotcha.
And so, that in itself is exciting. Like, we love that. We love that we kind of stand out. But one of the other things that we do is like Luke says, we try to have fun. Like, we opened with a popcorn peanut butter and jelly ice cream.
Oof.
Yeah. I loved that one.
I love that one. We've done a Frosty and fries.
Oh, wow.
You're familiar with that little treat, right?
Like Wendy's
Dipping your
nostalgia.
fries.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes,
So
sorry.
essentially,
Yes,
it's like
yes,
a salted chocolate ice cream.
Right.
But who can resist that?
Right.
Right now, we have a banana pudding ice cream on. We're going to have a biscuits and jam ice cream later this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just play around with it, but you also
fun.
have to have the classics,
Sure. Yeah.
You got to have strawberry. You have to have vanilla.
Yeah.
You have to have chocolate.
Yeah. The basics, for sure.
I do have a good story. So one of our ice creams that stands out and has been there since day one is our mocha toffee. So that is a coffee ice cream made with Onyx coffee, and then we mix in chocolate toffee pieces and call it mocha toffee, and it's great. And I was visiting a local restaurant, and one of the servers there, I was maybe talking to the chef. I can't quite remember, but I was talking about switching up the menu at Superfine.
Okay.
And the server turned to me and said, "Well, you can't change the mocha toffee." And I kind of giggled, and I looked up, and she was very
eyeballing
serious.
you. Yeah.
Yep. Very serious. And so at that point, I was like,
staring
okay.
right through you.
Yep. And I did not want. So at that point, I was like, "No, this one's going to stay," and it's here today.
Yeah.
She burned holes in your head right there.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are going well there, and then you're thinking, we need a burger place. Tell me about the idea behind Townie.
Well,
you go ahead.
Thinking about Oven and Tap with pizza and Superfine with ice cream, and now Townie with burgers, we really enjoy working in this casual and familiar arena of food.
Yeah.
Bentonville in Northwest Arkansas has a lot of really nice food, a lot of beautiful restaurants, which I absolutely love. I patronize all of them frequently.
You bet.
And we wanted to bring, elevated food into this, kind of familiar all-day style food, such as pizza, ice cream, and burgers.
Yeah.
And so that's what ultimately drove the idea. And now we fine-tuned the concept, obviously, but I think that's the real
I think
reason.
For Luke and I, food is a connector. It's the common denominator between people, and we get to sit down at a table and forget our differences and enjoy and giggle. It's nostalgic. It takes us back to our grandmother or our mom or Ina Garten, whatever it may be. Yeah. But that's what's important. And while fine dining absolutely has a place for that, some of this casual food really speaks to that feeling.
You bet.
You get to sit 100%. Down and have French fries or fried pickles or pizza
and
and
they're not
giggle.
French fries that will still look fresh under your seat a year later.
Right.
They're actually,
Right. But, it's like... one of the things that I'm really, really proud about all of our places is that we are home to all sorts of experiences.
Sure. Oh yeah.
We can be your Tuesday night dinner. We can be your wedding party. We can be your first dates. We can be where your kids have their birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's the beauty of being able to lean into the casual experience is that you offer so much.
And for those that don't know, they're all together.
Yeah.
They're all together. You got it's a one solid half block of restaurant goodness along with gorgeous patio.
Yes, and that was another reason. So it's nice to be able to come to a centralized collection of restaurants and easily touch each of them, and we love South Main Street.
Yeah.
So when we started Oven and Tap, 10 years ago, we didn't have the Ledger, we didn't have Mata Hotel, and so we felt we looked out our door and we felt like we were a mile from the square.
Oh yeah.
And really Bentonville's grown this direction.
Yeah.
And so now we're just we're kind of really proud of owning the South Block of Maine.
Heck yeah.
And so having them all together has so many benefits. And again, I think we just love the location. Yeah. They are going to extend the Dave Peel Park behind us. So the parking lot that butts up to all of our patios will become a beautiful green space and an extension of the current square. And we think that will bring a ton of life, or a lot more activity down here.
A lot of foot traffic.
We can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, another thing that's great about this is that the proximity allows us to have this familiar connection to one another.
Oh yeah.
So one of the best things about Oven and Tap is that it does feel like a family. And so when we were evolving and growing and expanding, it's like, how do we take that and put this in other restaurants? How do we replicate that? And being right next door to each other, it really helps with that. You know, everybody gets along, everybody knows each other.
If there's an issue,
if
you
we
just
need
hop
a cup
over.
of sugar, you know, we got our neighbor.
That's right. That's a
Yeah,
good point.
and it's allowed a lot of our great staff an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Sure.
And learn a new skill set in a different atmosphere, and that's a lot to get excited about.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Another thing to get excited about is even more growth coming your guys' way, and this was freshly announced. This is going up Wednesday. A full week previous is when we're recording this, and this came out yesterday.
It did. So we are. They announced that we are going to be involved with the bike park being built in Bella Vista, a world-class lifted bike park with all sorts of amenities.
It's been all over the news.
And,
the park. Yeah.
We're so excited about it. We've toured the grounds, and they're amazing.
Oh yeah, it's stunning.
And we were lucky enough to be asked to operate the restaurant.
Okay.
At the base camp, for lack of a better word. So once you're done with your, biking or hiking or just riding the lift or whatever activity,
or checking out
you
the
choose,
art. There's all sorts of things to do.
Okay,
there's going to be so much to do out there. You can come grab a refreshing beverage and a great meal at the base of the mountain, and that'll be us.
Gosh, you guys fly in the coop, fly in the neighborhood.
I know. After my big conversation about being next to each other.
You guys ready to talk food?
I guess that did poke a hole in it.
Fayetteville's next at some point.
There we go.
Because I'm, from Fayetteville.
I know
it's got to happen.
Still got heart there. I get it.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll talk food. Sound good?
Cool.
We got that.
Can't
We
wait.
got the Mike Engelman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and that's next right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Let me show you something.
Connect with us at Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, or by email at flavorsofnwa@gmail.com.
Welcome back. It's time for the Mike Engelman Home Pro Tip of the Week. And for that, we go to Molly. Molly,
Okay.
tell us.
All right, so my pro home tip would be to set your proteins, your fish, your chicken, your pork, steak, out maybe 30 or 45 minutes before you're going to cook. Let them come to room temperature.
Yeah.
Season them, and then cook them.
How are you all about seasoning? Do you like to over-season?
I wouldn't say over-seasoned. I would say adequately seasoned,
Yeah.
which is a heavy hand. In the restaurant
yeah.
industry, we season well. And that I would also say, and I hope I'm not taking your pro tip.
Pardon my French. I chicken shit season at home, so I've got to learn to do a little bit more.
Yes, I mean, we can get I can get a demo out here.
Yeah.
You would be like, excuse me? Is that how much salt you put on it?
That's great.
But that's the difference between a home cook and a professional chef.
Absolutely. Gotcha.
Is your seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
But my big tip would be, if you want an even cookery, pull your proteins out. Honestly, probably even an hour before, depending on how large it is. Let it come to room temperature, season it, then cook it.
My proteins rarely make it to the fridge because I'll usually buy it and just kind of leave it out, and then 3 days later is when. No, I'm kidding. Luke, your turn.
Well, I'm going to stay in on the seasoning track here.
Yeah.
So Molly was speaking of seasoning with salt and tempering proteins, and it's a very important piece of cookery. So the other item that we season a lot with is acid, right? So salt and acid are what really coax out all the flavors of what you're cooking. It's very important to use them and use them appropriately. And I think we make a lot of tomato sauce at Oven and Tap, and one of the most important pieces of that sauce is lemon juice. So lemon juice or any acid we can get into wine if you're talking long cooked tomato sauces. But the acid from the wine or the lemon juice or the vinegar will unlock so many layers of flavor in the tomato. And so I just want to recommend, every time you slice a tomato in the summer or get a tomato sauce on the stove or make a quick pizza sauce, find a vinegar that you love, or use lemon juice or lime juice, or certainly in some of those fun tomatoey braises, pour a little wine in there.
Yeah.
Just don't use those if you slice your finger open. Then it gets a little dicey.
Right.
Just saying. Not that I know what that's like. We'll be right back.
Your story doesn't have to end. As an organ donor, the good in you can live on. In fact, you can save up to 8 lives through organ donation. Sign up to give the gift of life after you're gone. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe, someone else will too. Sign up online today as an organ, eye, and tissue donor at organdonor.gov. It saves lives.
160 people are added to the organ transplant waiting list every day in the U.S. 160. There were just over 49,000 transplants last year. That doesn't cover that. It doesn't cover it at all. We currently have 107,000 people plus on the waiting list with people dying every day. Please, please, please sign up to be a donor. Go to organdonor.gov, get signed up there. You can also do it from the Health app on your iPhone. Real simple. In Arkansas and in Texas, it takes 5 minutes. It really takes 5 minutes. I'm sure it's close to that in the other states as well. Or go old school. Do it like I did back in the day. Just go to the Department of Finance. When you renew your license, tell them, yes, you are an organ donor and want to be an organ donor. And also at the DMV and other states as well. Super important. And if you've done it, thank you so much. Please do it. Thank you. And we're back. We are with Luke and Mollie, and we're at Townie Burger here, and we're going to get into food now. And I want to talk about the big appetizers here. Obviously, the cheese dip. We were talking about cheese dip earlier, and I'll spare everybody about my diatribe of cheese dip versus Texas queso and the whole head-butting match, the butt match. Disregard. So, but cheese dip is something you guys have, and that does very well here.
We do, and we don't want to get into who invented it.
Oh my gosh!
Whoever wants
or
it
who
can
does
have
it
it.
best.
Yeah. We just enjoy it.
Yes.
And,
there you go.
A rather insatiable appetite for cheese dips of all sorts, and so we had to.
There is one true answer. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
Arkansas cheese dip was made in Arkansas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Correct.
Please continue.
So we wanted to, enjoy that and bring in, Arkansas and American classics was really, the exploration of Townie. And so I think, when Mollie and I talked menus, I think we probably said cheese dip first.
Yeah.
Like maybe simultaneously.
It's hard to think of an American classic where you don't think of cheese dip.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And all my favorite burger restaurants that I either worked in or enjoyed as a kid, and I grew up in Little Rock, all had cheese dip. And so it seems like it's criteria in Arkansas at a burger joint to have the cheese dip. So I think that was the first one.
For sure.
That's kind of like our wood-fired edamame
at Tap.
But we'll stay on Townie for the moment.
Yes. And the cheese theme continues with pimento cheese.
Fair.
Yes.
We
really like our cheese, don't we?
That's good. I'm with you. So tell me about the pimento cheese you guys have here.
Well, so there's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Oven and Tap also has a pimento cheese and has probably had a pimento cheese for 8 years, for quite some time, because it's such a southern offering.
Yeah.
You
sure
know?
is, yeah.
And that's a little confusing at Oven and Tap since it feels Italian, but we kind of like to say that it's...
We're Southern Italian.
Southern Italian, thank you.
There you go.
But not like so much like
not like Sicily. Like Arkansas and...
But don't look at the map. Don't look at the map.
I've drew a great
it's
map.
not great. It's not great.
Italy, the boot with a star somewhere, in that boot, and then a sketch of Arkansas, and then like I noted.
Yeah, Luke is in the kitchen for a reason.
Oh, there you go. All right.
All right, pimento cheese.
Anyway, so we thought, you know what? Let's put pimento cheese and have a little spin on it here at Townie. So we have the tale of two pimentos, and we're really hoping. We love them both.
Yeah.
But we're really hoping that guests will come in, and it's kind of a talking point. Like, hey, you love that one? Go next door.
Battle of the Pimentos.
Battle of the Pimentos.
I dig it. In a jam.
In a jam. So we do have fun with our menu items when writing them, and this one features a house-made bacon jam, which is possibly the most decadent jam you can decide to make.
Bacon jam in general, I think, is part of the 10 Commandments, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It's
Pretty sure it's there.
I think so. My mom's about to strike lightning down on me for saying that, but please continue.
But we were trying to again celebrate the American classics and burgers that you might see, such as like a bacon mushroom burger at other restaurants, and rethink of how to present that. And so we came up with sauteing beautiful mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then instead of having slices of bacon, we make this great bacon jam. And again, we're going to get right back into our pro tip here. So it's long cooked bacon that we mix with brown sugar and red wine vinegar. So there's your acid.
Jeez.
Bacon
Salty.
usually also has enough salt in it and the sugar. So you have this great balance of salty, sweet, and tangy. So we slather that on the bun and
and it
top
pairs
with mushrooms.
perfectly with the, like an earthy mushroom, and then your burger.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And when we were writing the menu, bacon jam kept coming up. We kind of knew we wanted to use bacon jam, and in a jam just kind of feels like that will get you out of a jam
real quick.
So
it can.
If you ever need to get right, come grab it in a jam.
So has anyone come in and put themselves in a jam by ordering a double chickenette?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
We've had some ambitious diners.
Truly. Because it's a lot
People
already.
walking in doing Man versus Food, ready to go.
It's like, hey, can I make that a double? I'm like, excuse me?
Well, and the chickenette is a large sandwich, but
it's a large chicken sandwich for those
Yes.
of you. Yes.
Don't be fooled. Our burger patties are a third of a pound. So we did have a triple. So that guest ate 1 pound of.
I'm proud of them for making it through that.
Gosh, please tell me they were in their teens, please, maybe
I don't
20s.
think so.
74-year-old man, I'll take a triple.
I don't want to call them out, but
Oh gosh. Oh man, tell me about the Pig Mac.
So that's a fun one. I'll let you guess on what that is a play on.
Pig Mac. Yes.
Yeah, with the P.
Yeah.
And here we feature a pork patty, and that is made.
Great.
That's made from pork from our dear friends Shawn and Carol Bansley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've been supporting the Bansleys through Evan and Tap and since day one, and wanted to feature them here at Townie.
Outstanding.
And we just thought that would be a fun way. The pork has great texture, so it's easy to double patty.
Yeah.
And whenever we thought double patty, we just kind of kept thinking, well, there's this sandwich out there that has great flavors. Yep.
Yeah.
And so we brought in those flavors, and my favorite changes often, but currently that is my standout.
Excellent. Now I've got to talk barbecue as the last burger, and there are many more burgers, but that's certainly one to bring up.
It is, and it's again, maybe it's nodding to fast food like a RBQ. So
we like to have fun around here with
I
our
know.
names.
I hear.
Truly.
I hear you. Yeah.
And, you often see barbecue burgers on the menu, and I love those. I love barbecue sauce. Again, we're getting into that, acidic, sweet, tangy vibes, 100%. And we wanted to add some texture. So we have the coleslaw and some other toppings on there, and again, it was just our iteration, our fun take on the American classic, and how do we spin it without reinventing the wheel? I mean, that's not really our goal.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
We want to celebrate it, but we want it to be unique to our space, and that's why everything exists on our menus.
Well, and what's really fun is that this is our second menu.
Yeah.
We've been open for 7 months.
I was about to say it's not a year.
No, we're under a year.
Yeah.
And so I hope that we get to have this conversation with you in 10 years from now.
Yeah,
where
same.
we're like, do you remember the barbecue? And it's just...
When I have children carrying my equipment for me in because I can barely walk.
No. But this is the fun part of it.
Yeah.
Like getting to explore, changing the menu, seeing what works, what doesn't work, what we enjoy, and having fun with it.
Yes.
And leaning into the American classics and making sure that people enjoy themselves and feel that nostalgia when they come in here.
100%. You guys will be saying, I wish we would have celebrated our 20th.
Yeah.
Dang it. No,
Yeah.
kidding. Totally kidding. Moving on, State Fright.
So this is, I guess, it has to be more of a French classic.
Yeah, kind of, right?
It is. However, we make house cut homemade French fries in here that we love. We can eat them on anything. So we were just thinking, going through a list of what can we put French fries on, and this dish came to mind.
My face.
Everything.
Yeah.
This dish came to mind, and we wanted to not be a place that only had sandwiches or burgers. We want people to be able to come in here and extend beyond that with something lighter,
100%.
such as some of our big entree-style salads, or something a bit more decadent. And so that we felt like that fit right in. So we've run that day one. Beautiful steak we sear on our griddle, sear with our French fries, and then our house-made chimichurri over the top. So we hit. It's a very cross-cultural
I was going to
dish.
say, it is not just French.
Yeah.
Or American.
Whoops.
That's all right.
The drink menu here, as I'm jumping into drinks, is something to certainly pay attention to. The Townie, please tell me.
Well, everything that ends up on our beverage menu, we go right back to the burger. And I think ice cold martinis and caramelized, delicious decadent burgers is something to experience.
Yeah.
That is also to me like a classic pairing.
Yeah.
A classic American pairing, a martini and a burger.
Interesting.
Yep. So
Interesting.
that's the top of the menu there.
Along the same lines, the Lambrusco.
Yes, same deal here. So Lambrusco is probably not the most beloved wine out there.
Okay.
But if you find it in the right iteration, which we've found some beautiful Lambruscos, we toggle between two different Lambruscos, but they both offer this bright red wine. We serve it chilled; it's slightly effervescent, so it's able to cut through the decadence of the burger.
Sure.
And I just find that to be really refreshing and a really fun pairing.
It's unique. And I think anyone who comes in and does it and enjoys that pairing really loves it.
Interesting. I'll have to do it. That sounds it. Because I'm a red wine guy, so that's kind of my thing.
There you go.
Yeah. Breakfast? Did I hear breakfast?
Yes, we started breakfast this week.
Oh, please tell me.
Well, we again, American classics.
Yeah, okay.
One thing that when Luke and I were thinking about Townie, we kept kind of referring to it as a burger joint or like a diner feel. I know that's not the way it necessarily presents.
It's not the feel, but yeah.
But we have these cool pendant lights that are kind of reminiscent of that era. So
you bet.
We wanted to lean into those offerings as well, and I think breakfast is really where we achieve that the most.
Yeah.
So we've got sandwiches, we have an omelet, we've got like a big cinnamon roll, pastries that super fun.
How dare you?
I know, right?
Fried chicken on a biscuit with honey and hot sauce.
Yummo.
Yeah. Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Endless coffee.
Yeah. Well.
And not fussy, just coffee.
Just coffee.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right.
Well, and it, breakfast just adds. We really wanted Townie to be this neighborhood bar and grill type restaurant.
Yeah.
And we just thought that extending to every service possible to the community was important for Townie.
Yeah. Well, we got to go to the original Oven and Tap. Go through the menu there a little bit. And you had mentioned earlier the wood-fired edamame. That's something that caught my eye from the get-go.
That has been on the menu since day one. That is one of the very few items that has made it through almost 11 years. But it is kind of the perfect pairing of what Luke was talking about, of like balance. So you have this kind of sweet vegetal edamame, which is soybeans are very local here in Arkansas, and then the acid of the lemon juice and the earthiness of the rosemary pairs perfectly with the saltiness.
Oh yeah.
And it is an addictive snack.
Well, this is a great. This lands the plane of Southern and Italian.
It really marries the two. Yes.
Thank you for the setup, John.
That's what I do. Though I had no idea, but go ahead.
In Italy, or maybe across the Mediterranean, they'll cook young fava beans this way. So whole young fava beans, which once they mature, you'll pop the beans out of the pod, much like you would edamame.
Like edamame, yeah.
And they'll saute them, pretty intensely with lemon and woody or intense herbs such as rosemary or sage. Sure. And that's something I ran across while cooking in California, because we've cooked very Mediterranean-centric food.
Okay.
And when we got back to Arkansas, we were discussing Arkansas food, and again, soybeans are a huge crop here. And the light bulb went off. Like, we can apply that same technique to one of Arkansas's main crops, and here we are.
Yeah.
Southern
Perfect.
Italian.
Perfect.
And people love it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to keep something on the menu the whole way if they don't love it.
Well, I think it's fun to say wood-fired edamame.
Yeah, it is.
Wood-fired edamame. That's great. Salt and vinegar potatoes. I assume that's the big winner.
Yeah.
That is a fan favorite.
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't remember what year those came along.
It was early. We did a catering, I remember specifically, and you were playing around with it. Actually, it might have been before the restaurant was opened.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
they're fun, and they're, everyone that is first time to try them, they might ask, how do you make these? It's like, well, I'm about to bore you to death.
Here we go.
Because it is crazy simple, but again, here we are, salt and vinegar.
Have a seat, young man.
Yep. We boil new potatoes. Specifically with us, we use a red bliss potato, red skin potato.
Nice.
We boil them in white vinegar.
Oh.
And a healthy, not so healthy amount of salt.
Well, yeah.
Until they are super tender and just about to fall apart. We'll let them cool a bit, and then we'll smash them so the skins break a little bit and expose some of that fluffy interior. That's when it's going to be really crispy. And then we deep fry them.
Yeah, man.
Once they're we call it golden brown delicious.
Yeah.
We toss them with a little fresh herbs, Parmesan, and a little bit more salt. And currently we serve them with one of our favorite sauces, our creamy garlic chili crisp.
Ooh.
Which that's a secret. We can't give that away. But
that's in the
it's
nest.
a creamy garlic base, and then we make a house-made chili crisp that we drizzle on top.
I want that whole thing on a Hallmark card.
Yeah, it's the perfect combination.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm in. Now into the pizzas. The margarita. I mean,
it's classic.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and I'm sure that's a day oneer as well, and it'll continue to be on for perpetuity.
Yeah.
Yes, and my favorite pizza, and I don't want to speak out of turn for Molly, but one pizza we like to celebrate is one step less than margarita. It's the marinara.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just pizza dough, or our pizza dough with our sauce and olive oil.
Okay.
We like to throw some basil on there, and at the restaurant we'll top it with arugula for just a little added texture and flavor. But the marinara, I think, really shows what you got. It'll show off your sauce. It'll allow you to taste, the pizza dough at a different level.
Yeah.
So we really enjoy eating that pizza. So the marinara, the margarita.
Well, and Luke, you may have said this to me. I don't know who said, but along the way, I remember someone saying that the best way to judge a pizza establishment is by their margarita or their marinara.
Yeah.
And so it feels like a requirement for a menu.
You bet. Yeah. It's like serving water.
Yeah.
On the table.
There must be a margarita.
There must be. Margarita pizza.
Right, and maybe a margarita.
And a margarita.
We can do both.
Spicy Joe.
So spicy and sweet Joe. I'll bring the sweet Joe into this conversation too.
Okay.
They were introduced to the menu, probably halfway through these 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's a nod to our honey supplier, who goes by Sweet Joe.
No kidding.
And he's provided us honey from his hives in Rogers for, I think, probably as long as the restaurant's been open.
Yeah, I mean, we connected with him through the Hive, so for a long time.
No pun intended.
We started, just drizzling honey on pizzas.
Yeah, man.
And it works really well with the saltiness of the rendered pepperoni once it comes out of the wood-fired oven.
Yeah.
And the cheese, we top it with Parmesan. And I think we just started with the Sweet Joe.
We did. We had the Sweet Joe first, and then people would modify it and throw on jalapenos. They're like, can I get a jalapeno on there?
Yeah, and the response was massive.
Huh.
I think the Sweet Joe and Spicy Joe probably toppled the margarita for the top-selling items. So once the Sweet Joe took off, we started playing around with different variations, and there came the Spicy Joe.
Yeah.
That one has a tomato sauce base versus the garlic oil base, like the Sweet Joe. And then we add pickled jalapenos, and then it has its own honey. So we take Sweet Joe's honey and we make it a spicy, kind of hot honey that we drizzle on top. So you get spicy on spicy.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I got to ask about the Nona.
The Nona, yeah. So
go ahead.
We referenced Nona just as like
the elusive grandmother that neither of us had, who was Italian.
Right. Yeah.
And this one highlights our meatballs, which again are made from pork provided to us from our friends at the Bansley Ridge Farms. So we love our meatballs. That's another, our meatballs have been a day oneer on the menu as well.
That's
so
great.
We had to figure out a way to break them over a pizza, which we do. And here we pair them with lots of basil and oregano, some chopped tomato for a little added texture with the meatball, and bake that. So white garlic base. And we finished that with a ton of grana padano.
Yeah, and there's ricotta on that pizza as well.
Thank you for saving me there.
Yeah. Creamy, delicious, wonderful with the meatball.
Yummo.
And the tomato.
Oh, yummo. Plates, the lasagna.
Oh,
yes. We probably call it Nona's ragu on top.
Yeah.
So we're always, always just counting on Nona to pull us through here.
Right.
May I jump in on this one?
Yes, please.
Okay, so pasta is something that's very special to both Luke and I.
Sure.
And in our mentor-menteeship at the Hive, our early days, Luke had kind of a healthy obsession with making pasta. And so naturally I was like, well, you're going to teach me. Luke also had a pasta company where he sold fresh hand-rolled pasta on the square.
No,
at the farmer's market.
At the farmer's market.
How about that?
It's called BC Pasta.
Okay.
And so I was just so enthralled with the process. I mean, it is just so simple and it's so eloquent and everything about it is wonderful. But you simply just take flour and eggs and put them together and manipulate them, and it becomes this beautiful velvety thing.
You bet. Yeah.
And it's wonderful. It's awesome to see come together. And for almost 10 years, we've always had. Maybe there have been a couple seasons where we've gone a different direction, but for the most part, we've always had a handmade, hand-cut pasta on the menu, which is just exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, and
that's great.
It keeps technique alive. It keeps that cookery alive.
When I moved here in 2009, you could count the number of restaurants that did that on one hand, and probably half of that one hand.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to see it grow, and it's a great thing.
It really is, and a lot of people that work in the kitchen there maybe haven't experienced that alchemy of making pasta from scratch.
That's a huge point.
Once they, we can see them get hooked. Once they learn, everyone kind of fights for that prep list item.
Yep.
And
That's cool.
From the mixing it to the sheeting it and rolling it, and then for our lasagna, we will layer it with ricotta and different cheeses. And we do just a few layers, but we
love the cheese
cut
theme.
like a huge paver out of the lasagna. And this is so you have more opportunity to have some crispy edges and tops because we bake it in the wood-fired oven.
Yeah, man.
But it also allows us to pivot on sauce. So you can choose the Nona's ragu, which is typically kind of a bolognese style.
Okay, yeah.
We might use local lamb or local pork, or we might mix that up so we don't quite commit to calling it bolognese, but Nona's ragu is there, or you can pick our classic marinara sauce to put on top.
Sure.
Or we love mushrooms on the lasagna, so that option's there.
I mean, you've done a beautiful heirloom tomato lasagna.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a great.
It's excellent.
We need to write that down.
You just write that down.
Remember, go back to that.
Summer is right around the corner.
I've got to ask about the cabbage parm.
Oh, that's Luke's.
So we try to feature vegetable dishes on Oven and Tap's menu in each iteration or each season.
Yeah.
And we've done a variety, and this dish or that slot of the menu item, has allowed a lot of creativity. I think we just wrapped up long roasted butternut squash with salsa macha, which is a Mexican style sauce, and lime and cilantro. And now we're into this kind of bridge between winter and spring.
Yeah.
And we love how versatile cabbage is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it works. It's a vegetable that is sturdy enough to roast in the wood-fired oven. We have to be thoughtful of what goes in there because it's a very intense environment.
Sure.
And who doesn't love just drowning roasted vegetables in tomato sauce?
Yeah.
And cheese.
Cheese and more cheese.
Yeah.
And breadcrumbs and basil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had me at cheese.
If you haven't had it, you need to go try it.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's a really fun dish. It's got a lot of layers of texture, and it eats very, I hate to say meaty.
Yeah, it's
but
hearty.
Yeah, it's very hearty. So it's a great vegetable option.
Well,
Even if you're not a vegetarian, I guarantee you're gonna love it.
Kind of like a cabbage steak, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know what's interesting about this shoulder season is that you have vegetables like cabbage that kind of can take on winter, characteristics and spring. So you get a little bit of that like brightness and that sweetness, but still feeling the hardiness that you feel when you're having, a squash or something of that nature.
Right.
That's kind of.
It was just 20 degrees and
it snowed
yesterday, and it's going to be 90 this weekend.
So that's
Arkansas.
That dish fits best both those temperatures.
Yes, for sure.
Oof. Oh my gosh, the drinks over there, gin fig. If I'm going to have like liquor, it's gin with me usually. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful drink, and it was created by our manager over there and bartender, or she's the bar manager at the time, Olivia. So makes a mission fig and honey syrup. So again, Sweet Joe's in this mix, and then pairs it with a very floral gin. So you have all kinds of fruitiness and floralness in there. We serve it up in a coupe, so it's a really
love it.
Refined cocktail.
Yeah.
It's top of the list for a reason. Yeah, perfect for spring. It's got a beautiful color, and it's actually so good. It hasn't left the menu in years.
Outstanding. Oh, I like that. And another popular one, I think, is aged off the menu, but the flannel jacket. You guys, tell me about that, because that's a long timer, isn't it?
It really is, and we always apologize for our commitment to the seasons because it disappoints a lot of people. But I hope that they end up enjoying the way that works out and what they get to enjoy and see new things. And so the flannel jacket is a bourbon-based cocktail that we use a lot of more spices and apple cider and a little bit of Fernet to dry it out. So it drinks like
that is a winter drink, man.
Yeah.
It really is. You can wrap yourself up in it.
It's like a warm friend.
Oh my gosh. We'll serve it when it's really cold outside. We'll warm it up kind of like a hot toddy.
Yeah.
Typically it's served up on the rocks, but it is just fall and winter through and throughout.
Drink it out of a ladle.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Truly.
can.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't not talk about the tap wall.
I was just going to ask about it, yeah.
Yeah. We have anywhere between 16 and 20 local taps at one time. And I think that's something that, was really, I know. It was a big part of the beginning of Oven and Tap, obviously. Tap.
Because it's in the name, yeah.
Yeah, and really a commitment to supporting local and regional beers, craft beers. We still do not offer any sort of premium beer. Domestic. Thank you. We offer premium beer, not a domestic beer.
All good.
We did lean into that here, but that's something that I think is a big part of who we are at Oven and Tap.
Yeah.
It really is, and we've figured out we're creative with that tap wall. So she said Mollie mentioned 16 to 20. So most of that's usually beer, and that's local and regional. We might reach across to Missouri or Oklahoma if we find something that's really fun to drink.
You bet.
But we also use some of those taps from time to time we keg our cocktails.
Yeah, man.
So we get those cocktails in your hand ASAP.
Love it.
But we have to be selective what goes in the keg, obviously. So things that hold well and like a little bit of age on them. But it's been a fun way to influence the bar.
Yeah.
And even more so,
it's great.
I mean, Oven and Tap, back before it started, we probably had, a list of, 100 names of different varieties. And, again, like our moment of this is it was like, why don't we call it what it is?
Yeah.
It's a wood-fired oven and it's a tap wall.
Yeah.
And there we were.
Yeah. That's great.
And so the tap wall is very important to us, and it's beautiful. It's made out of this cold rolled steel that's really dark and patinaed, and it's very special to us.
One last question: any of you guys still get on the line at all? Hop in.
Luke does.
Yeah.
I guess I have helped here at Townie once.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while since I've been in the kitchen.
Okay.
I can still cook.
Still got those knives?
I still actually do still have those knives. One was stolen. But
no! Brutal.
Different story.
Yeah, so we are very involved in a restaurant's day to day, and we do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Sure.
So whatever that means. And so it does require for me to jump on the line, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Most of my time in the kitchen is probably spent around the menu changes.
Yeah.
So I get in there and pick up a knife and work on these new dishes with the team, and so we can all see what's going on and how, where to, what station to pick it up off of, and how to cook it. And so that's the majority of my time in the kitchen. And I will say, I miss it.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of the chefs that I interview, it's kind of their therapy, being able to jump back on the line.
Yeah.
They'll go crazy. Matt Cooper told me he'd murder somebody if he didn't get on the line at least once, twice a week.
Wow.
He didn't say that, but it was yeah, I know. He didn't say murder, but
well,
we love Cooper.
Yeah.
When you do it, I mean, it's just kind of a part of you. Like, if you're good at it,
Right.
it's something that you love.
You bet.
In order to continue doing it, you really have to love it.
Well, you got to have your creative outlet. And,
Right.
And in that case, it feeds the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for
I've
having us.
robbed way too much of it.
No, it's a pleasure.
I can't believe it's already 6. Tell folks how to find you.
Okay, you can find us on Instagram at Oven and Tap.
Okay.
Townie Burgers and Bevies.
Okay.
Just to clarify, the restaurant's name is just Townie. We've had a lot of confusion
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
But Townie Burgers and Bevies is our Instagram handle. And then Superfine Sweet Shop next door.
Okay.
And that's really the best place. Or you can, gugle. You can find us on Google.
There's that. There's that.
Or just walk down Main Street and you'll run
you'll-
into all of
you'll
us.
find
To
all
the
of us.
complex.
Right,
That's
yeah.
it. Guys,
1, 2, 3.
appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
You can find Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Don't laugh. Thanks for joining us. Please tip your servers, and we'll see you next week. Make it a great week. Bye-bye.